We often know it, in fact, when I was in stables and we got run away with, you tell the governor that you went for the sporting life. Because I don't know what Graham Bradley would tell Sally Hall, the trainer. Horse looks exceptionally well, hadn't run for a long time, and he pulled up on his last outing under National Hunt rules, but it will take him, if he hacks on down to the start, it'll take him about 2-3 minutes, I suppose. But this just gives you an indication of how far he is from the start. He's exactly in front of the stands now, and there, way down at the furthest extremity, is Swinley Bottom, and that is actually where the rest are waiting for him. But it'll be interesting to see whether Graham opts to let the horse canter down again, and if he does, is he putting his head in a noose, because will Cool Decision go with him again? It really is agonising, you know, when your fingers start to feel the strain, and eventually the horse gets the better of the argument. He certainly did on that occasion, and I think Graham is going to just give him the best here and just take him down as gently as he can. Now another horse from the north is Amber Rambler, and Amber Rambler, who there in the upside down chevron, the colours of Mr. D.I. Silverton, is certainly the best horse Harry Wharton's had for a while, and he deserves a good horse, as does Steve Youlden, his regular pilot, as Peter had said, sitting at home today. An agonising thing to watch your real best horse being ridden by someone else. But then Richard Rowe knows what it's like to sit at home. He's dislocated his shoulder quite a few times and has been forced to sit there and watch good Gifford horses bolting in with other jockeys on top of them. This fella's won his last 5 races, only one of them so far this season, and that was at Wetherby, November the 1st, and he was weighted with on that occasion, which is quite unusual because I've seen him making all the running. He did so at Doncaster in March, but sign of a good horse if he can swap his tactics like that. He's a 5-to-1 shot at the moment, and when he did win at Wetherby, he beat Royal Jet and Primrose Wood by 6 lengths and 10. Fairly conclusive, wasn't it? There is Ulaanbaatar in the colours of Mrs. Olive Jackson. I mean, I say it quite often, but for those of you who are new viewers, Ulaanbaatar is the capital of Outer Mongolia. It isn't that I've been there, but I just happened to fall across it in a map book one day. Well, his jumping wasn't very good last year, but certainly there hasn't been a great deal wrong with it this time. He's ridden by Peter Scudamore, and he's won his only 2 races, one over 2.5 miles and the other over 2 miles 5. Only first time out this season, he gave everyone the heart attack because he whipped round at the start and lost a great deal of time and effort there, but he caught him up and went on to win quite nicely from Jimny Quicket and R. Gracie. 6-to-1 shot at the moment, and just to look to see where Cool Decision is, and he's still just trotting down to the start, and G. Bradley certainly getting older as he gets wiser, or the other way around, because he's not going to give Cool Decision any chance to do it again. But let's see if this has made any mark on the betting.
Well, Cool Decision has gone out to 33-1 from 25s, but Desert Orchid has come back to 7-4. That's its original price. It's still favoured. Berlin 9-2. Amber Rambler 5-1. Ulaanbaatar 11-2. Charcoal Walley 7s. And Churchwarden is 16-1. And as I said earlier, Cool Decision has gone out to 33-1.
Now, well, we haven't seen Churchwarden. He looks exceptionally well, and I know a few good judges fancy this one. It's his first run of the season, and his only win over fences was over 3 miles, but this is a tough 2.5 miler. He's a very difficult horse to train, and all credit to David Murray-Smith. 16-1 shot at the moment. He last season was intermittently lame. Every other day he'd pull out a bit stiff and a bit pottery, and really did well in order to get him to win. Fine horse this, and looking exceptionally fit for his debut. 16-1 may look a very good price in a few minutes' time. Desert Orchid sweating there, very much so. You can see this excitable horse anyway is getting very, very warm. Now the best turned out is the other grey, Charcoal Walley there, and certainly he's sweating as well now. You know, it's a long time waiting. Now this is the best turned out, and Jane Parker gets 50 quid from the sponsors for her efforts. Just look at that tail, how nicely that is plaited. Yes, I called him slightly flea-bitten earlier, but I mean, he's, yes, well, I don't know what to describe him as now. Isn't that a lovely face, though? That reminds me of a few human beings I know. intelligent, ears pricked, and always on the ball. Just like our producer, Fred Viner, who will be in all sorts of trouble if Cool Decision doesn't get to the start very shortly. But he is making his way slowly down. Graham Bradley deciding now to hack him on. He knows what pressures we have here up against the clock, and he is almost there. But look, he's taking him sideways. He's taking no chances, just hacking him down, sitting on his backside. And again, Cool Decision, very, very warm. But he's come a long way from the north of England, and that hack round, first of all, even though he was running away with Graham Bradley, wasn't actually going very fast. Desert Orchid is 7-4, Berlin is 9-2, Amber Ramblers 5s, and it's 11-2 after that trio. So very good prize here for this H&T Walker Goddess chase. Remember, last year, very promising won this, and he has gone on to certainly be one of our very best steeple chasers. There's almost £20,000 to the winner here. There is the favourite, Desert Orchid, front runner, but as I said, there are so many front runners here, I just wonder if they'll cut each other's throats. These jockeys will certainly not be telling each other what they're going to do, and it only remains to be seen when the tapes go up what happens. But I don't think any of them will take on Desert Orchid for very long if they try to. There's Berlin, number 6 in the white colours there, Nick Mills. He's had some other good horses besides this one. He's by Mount Hagen, French stallion out of Signature Tune, and represents Gaisley Yard, who's got another fancied runner later in the afternoon in the 3:05 in Boland's Cross. But having had a bit of a delay, it looks as if the starter is wandering towards his position. And here comes the elastic tape being stretched across there. If they slip up, I tell you what, that could do them some damage, couldn't it? Desert Orchid, 7-4 favourite. Berlin 9-2. Amber Rambler 5-1 and 11-2. Bar that trio. Not a lot of change in the market there. I think this steeplechase is going to be what it's all about. They'll have no trouble coming up the hill, but it'll be once they go away from the stands. I think the action very shortly will be underway. A good chance for Peter O'Sullivan to take over.
Thank you, Richard. Winners of 45 of the 136 races. These 7 runners who've got 16 fences to jump this time. And I think we'll find Cool Decision has been withdrawn. Cool Decision withdrawn, so 6 runners. Little consultation down at the start, and Cool Decision, who is responsible for this delay, has been withdrawn without coming under starters' orders. They're under orders now. And here they go. Running to the first with Charcoal Walley and Desert Orchid, the first to show. Charcoal Walley jumps the first in the lead from Desert Orchid. Then comes Berlin and Amber Rambler. And behind them, Church Warden and Ulan Bator. Charcoal Walley from Desert Orchid, the 2 greys as they jump the second. Berlin jumps it third, and now the first of the ditches. Charcoal Walley with about a 3-length advantage over Desert Orchid, who's 4 lengths up on Berlin. Then comes Ulan Bator. Behind Ulan Bator is Amber Rambler, and then Church Warden. Charcoal Walley taking him along at a good pace in this H&T Walker Goddess chase. Over the 4th, Charcoal Walley from Desert Orchid. Then Berlin and Ulan Bator, Amber Rambler, and finally Church Warden swinging into the straight on the first circuit. Charcoal Walley from Desert Orchid. Then Berlin and Ulan Bator matching strides, a little gap to Amber Rambler, and then Church Warden coming to the first in the straight. It'll be the second last on the next circuit. Charcoal Walley lands in the lead from Desert Orchid, then Ulan Bator and Berlin, and behind them Amber Rambler and Church Warden. Charcoal Walley coming to the 6th of the 16 fences with the advantage over Desert Orchid. 3rd is Berlin, 4 Ulan Bator, 5 Amber Rambler, and 6 and last is Church Warden as they pass the winning post with another complete circuit. Charcoal Walley in the lead from Desert Orchid in second, then Ulan Bator and Berlin matching strides just ahead of Amber Rambler, and finally Church Warden. They begin the right-hand swing. Charcoal Walley from Desert Orchid, Ulan Bator, and Berlin, Church Warden, and Amber Rambler is now the back marker. Coming to the 7th, Charcoal Walley from Desert Orchid. Then Ulaanbaatar, Berlin and Churchwarden and Ambler Rambler. And Ulaanbaatar have followed that. Ulaanbaatar has gone. Charcoal Walley, still the leader from Desert Orchid, Berlin and Ambler Rambler, and then Churchwarden. And Ulaanbaatar's up all right, and his pilot, Peter Scudamore, just got to his feet now. Charcoal Walley from Desert Orchid as they come down to this ditch. Charcoal Walley, Desert Orchid, then Berlin very close, then Ambler Rambler, and Churchwarden the back marker. Coming to the water now for the only time, number 10 of the 16 fences, Charcoal Walley from Desert Orchid, Berlin going well and Ambler Rambler too. Then Churchwarden jumping it in 5th. Charcoal Walley from Desert Orchid, Berlin, Ambler Rambler, and finally Churchwarden. And the leaders grouping, Charcoal Walley from Desert Orchid, Berlin and Ambler Rambler with 6 left to jump in the H&T Walker Goddess Chase. Churchwarden making ground from the rear now. Charcoal Walley from Desert Orchid and Berlin over the 11th. Charcoal Walley, and not such a good jump by Desert Orchid there, drops back to 4th as Charcoal Walley is the leader from Berlin now and Ambler Rambler, and then fighting his way back is Desert Orchid now. But it's Charcoal Walley as they come to the final ditch from Berlin, Ambler Rambler and Desert Orchid. Over that ditch, and Berlin takes it up now from Charcoal Walley, Ambler Rambler, and then Desert Orchid being chased along Desert now by Colin Brown. 3 from home. Berlin and Charcoal Walley from Desert Orchid and Ambler Rambler as they race towards the home turn. Berlin with the advantage now from Charcoal Walley, Ambler Rambler and Desert Orchid still well in touch though as they race round the home turn, and Berlin and Dermot Brown have taken it up now from Ambler Rambler, and Desert Orchid trying to fight his way back under pressure from Colin Brown. Coming to the second last, Berlin with the advantage from Ambler Rambler and Desert Orchid. Berlin lands in the lead from Ambler Rambler and Desert Orchid. Desert Orchid trying to challenge again between horses, but it's Berlin with the advantage from Ambler Rambler. Churchwarden's making ground from the rear. Berlin now with a 2-length advantage from Desert Orchid, and Churchwarden coming there strongly. This is the final fence. Good jump there by Berlin. Churchwarden finishing strongly. It's Berlin from Churchwarden. They're racing to the closing stages. Berlin being challenged by Churchwarden on the near side. Berlin, Churchwarden as they come to the line. Churchwarden's got up. He's won it. Churchwarden the winner. Berlin second. It's a photo for third between Ambler Rambler and Desert Orchid, but the winner Churchwarden. Berlin second. Photo for third between Ambler Rambler and Desert Orchid.